heard me right. We are down to our final 10 animatronics who have just received mechanics for the ultimate custom night. We've come a long way, but now it's finally time to conclude our short-lived series. 7 parts, 50 animatronics, tons of support. I can't thank you all enough. Now, for the final time, let's see what mechanics Scott has produced. What's up, gamers and gamer gals? Right here, right now, we're talking about the final character mechanics confirmed for the ultimate custom night. As always, if you enjoyed today's finale, be sure to give it a big ol' like and subscribe for more short, simple, scary Five Nights at Freddy's news and theories. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next theory I'm working on. Now, without further ado, let's get started with our great conclusion. Scott seems to really be taking his time on these last few, because at the time I'm writing this is pre-written, by the way. I don't want a repeat of the last video, but unfortunately this is going to be a repeat of the last video, because this is 2 weeks after this news has already been unveiled. So, no new mechanics have been unveiled, although they have. That was in the script though, so I'm just going to read that. I only have the mechanics that are missed in the last video. That's also not true. First up is Rockstar Bonnie. According to his description, he will occasionally appear in your office, and he is conspicuously missing his guitar. In fact, the only way to appease him is to locate his guitar on the camera system and double-click on it. Fail to do this in a timely fashion, and you'll lower your monitor only to be greeted with the jump scare. This sentence alone definitely confirms that this night isn't canon. The fact that we can in fact click a guitar from a camera and it magically springs into Bonnie's hands tells me that logic doesn't exist in whatever universe this takes place in. His mechanics are pretty similar to Phone Guy, except you won't have to listen to a boring lore-filled speech. Instead, you will have to listen to your own organs being smashed, because once Rockstar Bonnie finds his guitar, he's gonna do just that. Wow, that was surprisingly dark. Sorry about that. Kid-friendly channel, people. I'm a kid-friendly channel. It's nice that he will block the entrance for a short period of time, because let's be honest, we need all the help we can get for this night. Speaking of helping, would you believe that there is actually an animatronic partly in our favor? I know, incredible. Scott for once wasn't a troll. Wait till you hear the next animatronic on the roster, Rockstar Foxy. And it looks like the April Fool's mechanics actually became actual mechanics, because listen to this mechanic. His parrot will occasionally fly through your office, and if you're able to click on it before it gets away, then Rockstar Foxy will appear in your office. While the other Foxys are here only to torment you, Rockstar Foxy isn't quite as hostile. In fact, he will probably offer a few interesting boosts to help you get through the night, such as increasing your power meter, restoring the temperature to a cool 60 degrees, or soundproofing your office for 5 seconds. However, choosing to summon Rockstar Foxy isn't without risk. If you catch him in a bad mood, he might just greet you with the jump scare and end your run. So he is actually the first and only helpful animatronic. Ah, wow, that sucked. It's ironic that Helpy doesn't really help anyone, and he's rather quite a nuisance. You'd expect Rockstar Foxy to make a big commotion since he's a rock star, yet he's peaceful as a hummingbird. Now that I think about it, hummingbirds aren't that peaceful. An ocean, yeah, an ocean. He's as peaceful as an ocean. Well, then again, get on with it, otherwise people will think you're putting this in for filler. Sorry, back to Rockstar Foxy. You know, I expected the April Fool's mechanics to be completely BS, but it looks like Scott has made use out of one of them. I'm wondering how you're going to get around using this mechanic. After all, his chance of jump scaring you is random. You can choose not to activate him, preventing any contact and risk, but these boosts could be the difference between life and death, so I definitely risk it for the biscuit. Or is it Butters? I don't know, let's move on. I know I said we'd move on, but I have one more note about Rockstar Foxy. He also has a voice actor, and there's a rumor that Freddy Fazbear himself may be receiving a voice actor as well. This is true. Once again, this was written
long ago in a distant land.
This is like a dream come true for me. It really is. Scott has selected a brand new voice actor to take on the role of the middle-aged pirate. Joe Gaudette has volunteered to take on that role. I have to apologize for not letting you all know about this because he was holding auditions, and let's set aside past mistakes and take a gamble on the future. That was a reference, by the way. You know, pizzeria simulator dialogue, you know. Moving on. Next up is the Three Musketeers, Circus Baby, Nightmare Bonnie, and Nightmare Mangle. Unfortunately for them, they have all been crammed into one mechanic. They will all approach from the right hall, but each of them will only attack once per night, and they change their order of attack each night so that you don't know what to expect first. There are two ways to defend against them. One is to shut the right door and leave it shut for the duration of the night, which is obviously impractical as it will drain your power. The other is to purchase their plush toy from the prize corner. The prize corner has only 3 plush toys available to buy: Bonnie, Mangle, and Baby, and your funds will be very limited, so it's important to buy the characters in the order that they appear in the hall. You will use Faz coins to purchase the plush toys, and there are 2 ways they accumulate throughout the night. One way is to block the attacks of other animatronics. Each successful block earns 1 Fazbear coin. The other way to earn coins is to find them on the cams and scan your mouse cursor over them to collect them. Increasing the difficulty of these characters will increase the price of their plush toys. I won't lie, this is kind of a letdown. I would have expected Baby to play a much bigger role, seeing as she is the main mascot of the sister location, aka Circus Baby's Pizza World. Not to mention, she was one of my most anticipated animatronics, right along Nightmare Fredbear, but alas, she will only attack once, and then she is scared off by a stuffed animal. The same goes for Nightmare Mangle and Nightmare Bonnie. They will retreat once you brought their plushies, meaning that they're much less of a threat, and I feel that Scott could have innovated a little bit more with these characters, but what's done is done. After all, Nightmare Mangle and Bonnie have razor-sharp teeth. Why not make them the most threatening animatronics to make use of those dentures? I do like the idea of the coin system, however, it's going to be very inefficient for those who have poor visual skills, like me. I never could crack a single Where's Waldo page, so scouting out an array of tiny pieces of currency is going to be a living nightmare for me. Speaking of a living nightmare, wait till you hear the mechanic for Scrap Trap, aka William Afton. Afton has the distinction of having the simplest mechanic in the game, but also possibly the scariest. He will only attack once per night, and there will be no way of knowing in advance when this attack will happen, or if it will happen at all. He will always attack from the vent on the right wall, and when he does, there will be violent clamoring sound in the vent, and lights will flicker. When this happens, you will only have a fraction of a second to close the vent door, or your run will end with Afton screaming in your face. Yikes, Scott wasn't kidding. If you have a fraction of a second to shut the trap, see what I did there? I'm gonna stop making jokes, I really am. Then you're going to have to be unbelievably precise in order to avoid him. It's good to know that this animatronic will have a set location, because most animatronics have multiple locations where they can appear. It's also great that he gives an obvious indication of his presence by making as much noise as possible. Contrary to Scott's opinion, I don't think he has the simplest mechanic in game. This title goes to Golden Freddy, only because you have to pull up the camera, which is one action. With Scrap Trap, you have to listen for his clamoring, then you must close the vent he appears in, which makes 2 actions. I know, it's a bit of nitpicking, but overall Golden Freddy has the easiest mechanic in the night. The next animatronic on our list is Scrap Baby, and unlike the other baby on this list, this one has a satisfying mechanic. Once per night, she will appear on the other side of your desk, slouch over and appearing to be decommissioned. There will be a shock panel sitting right next to her. You can shock her at any time by clicking on this button, but it will drain 1% of your power each time you do so, and it will have no effect until she is poised to attack. You must refrain from pushing the button until you notice that she has moved. Shocking her at this stage will cause her to leave your office and not return. If you fail to notice that she has moved and bring up your monitor again, you'll have nothing but a jump scare to look forward to. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the one-show tactics Scott is deploying, but this mechanic actually does fit well with the character. Baby is known to have a reaction to controlled shocks in both the 5th and 6th games, so it does make sense that she is tied to this mechanic. A shock costing only 1% of power is way too generous, so it looks like Scott took pity on us for this mechanic. Honestly though, we're gonna need it for what we're going to endure. Coming to an office near you is Rockstar Freddy. This is definitely my favorite character introduction I've done. Anyway, he will stand in your office the entire night and on occasion will activate, demanding a payment of 5 Faz coins. If you pay him, he will return to sleep mode. Fail to pay him in a timely fashion, however, and your run will end with an angry Rockstar Freddy in your face. The problem is that Faz coins might be scarce, especially if you have other Faz coin demanding animatronics in the halls. Thankfully, there is another option at your disposal. If you're running short on Faz coins, or just prefer not to spend them here, just crank up the heat for a few seconds. This will cause Rockstar Freddy to malfunction and eventually think his payment has been made. Man, some of these animatronics are jerks. Freddy demands a cool temperature, Music Man wants silence, Funtime Chica wants attention, and Rockstar Freddy demands money. What a bunch of spoiled mother... Okay, I'm not allowed to say that? Okay, well, what a bunch of spoiled brats. I mean, to be fair, they are possessed by children, but come on, I wasn't so demanding when I was a child. Or, now that I think about it, maybe I was. I don't know. Back to Rockstar Freddy. So pay the man or turn up the heat. You have 2 options, or you could just surrender and Freddy could swallow your face whole. I'm just gonna play it safe and give him the tokens. He doesn't know it's not real money, so it's no real loss for me. I'm not going to resort to the heat until an emergency, because it triggers the heat-sensitive animatronics. Freddy will be on my tail as soon as the temperature is altered, and I don't want that. Now, it's time for our final 3 animatronics. Or 7 if you want to take into account each member of Trash's gang. Speaking of Trash in the gang, their mechanic tops the charts with the most well-thought-out and best overall mechanic in the night. I am, of course, being sarcastic, because just look at what Scott has given me to work with. Question mark, question mark, question mark. I really don't know how to approach this one. Clearly nothing is written, so I guess we'll just give these rust buckets a pass. Hopefully my prediction is considered, because it was my best overall prediction for animatronic mechanics. I predicted that they would inhabit Toy Freddy's game, and turning up the difficulty increases the difficulty for Toy Freddy. In my honest opinion, 10 out of 10, best opinion of the year. My previous assumption was that Scott was beginning to run out of ideas for the remaining animatronics, so he began adding wacky random ones, resulting in Toy Freddy playing a video game and the plushie pals Baby, Nightmare Bonnie, and Nightmare Mangle. However, this assumption was put to rest when Scott unveiled Bonnie's mechanic. It may be one of the most creative mechanics present in the night, and I'm not joking about that. Poor Bonnie has been forced to share a cramped stage with another animatronic, Foxy, and he's pretty upset about it. These two will take turns looking out from the curtain, but whereas Foxy will hide himself when viewed on camera, Bonnie will do the opposite and will become more agitated. If Bonnie is looking from the camera when you view Pirate's Cove, he will take the opportunity to flash his blinding eyes and scramble the cameras, all of them, for a significant amount of time. Needless to say, losing the ability to use your cameras for this long will most likely be a death sentence. The only way to tell who's actively looking from Pirate's Cove is to observe a tiny figurine on your desk. This figurine will change from Foxy to Bonnie depending on who is active in Pirate's Cove. Not paying attention to this detail and thereby looking, or not looking, at Pirate's Cove at the wrong time can cost you your run. Does anyone else agree that this mechanic is bloody brilliant? Just the thought of losing every last camera sends a chill down my spine. Losing your very security, the only thing keeping you alive, was a great move by Scott, even though it's temporary. If you don't have glasses, well, then you're basically screwed. You're going to have a sharp eye to locate the Bonnie and Foxy desk figurine that will appear in your office. The eye flashing mechanic was an ingenious callback to the Bonnie camera Easter egg in Five Nights at Freddy's 1, where he would stare directly into the backstage camera with glowing eyes. I wonder why he didn't scramble the mechanics back then. I wonder if someone can mod in that mechanic. I'd love to see the outcome of that situation. Send it to me and I'll play that fan game. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Our final mechanic goes to Foxy. Great job ending on one of the most beloved characters to date. He inhabits Pirate's Cove along with Bonnie, and while you shouldn't view Pirate's Cove when Bonnie is active, it's a necessity when Foxy is. Foxy will gradually make his exit if you don't check on him regularly, and once he's out, there's no way to make him go back. He also has a new trick up his sleeve to get into your office. He gets in piece by piece. He will find any vulnerability in your office and slip in chunks of himself, arms, legs, head, torso, through any open vent or open door. until all of his fragments are inside. Once there, he will wait for you to pull up your monitor before putting himself back together and jump scaring you. What a way to end this list. This mechanic makes complete sense for the character, and I am more than satisfied with it. So it looks like Foxy will channel his inner Iron Giant and will disassemble himself, only to call all his pieces to reassemble himself on the other side. This mechanic kind of reminds me of a similar mechanic in the popular fan game Pop Goes. In that game, a similar thing occurs where gradually a black rabbit is assembled, eventually killing you. You can see why I made the comparison. Side note, this video is so unbelievably long that I had to make another page at this point because my phone has succumbed to the lag, so I'm going to another page. Ah, that's better. Now, where was I? Oh yes, I think it's great that Scott has given Foxy a less expected mechanic instead of his usual run toward the door, drain power tactic. But how long does it take for him to assemble himself? We'll just have to wait and see when he appears in the game for the ultimate custom night. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you all for the support on this series. It's unbelievable to see so many people commenting, liking, or just being out there in general. I really appreciate it. I'm also out of breath. I'm about to die. You can't suggest any more animatronics to Scott, but you can tell me what your favorite mechanic is, or how early you expect it to come out in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and thank you for selecting Awesome Gamer Dude, and we'll see you back here soon. Goodbye for now.
This is it.